Franklin County Board of County Commissioners now in session for this regular meeting Tuesday, August 20th. It's good to have everyone here. We're going to go ahead and get started this morning. If you would, let's please stand and open with the invocation and the pledge. Our Father, we thank you today for your hand in our life. We thank you for this time and opportunity to discuss, Lord, the things before us, the challenges we all face together, Lord, and the solutions that you're going to help us to come together and provide. Father, we thank you for this time. We dedicate it to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First up is approval of minutes and payment of county bills.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Sanders.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Croom. Any discussion?
Just have one.
Yes, sir.
On the Bozard Ford Lincoln one, was that maintenance or a new vehicle? It was for $44,600.
That's probably a new vehicle.
That's what I was thinking.
That's a new
That's what I was
vehicle,
hoping.
Yes.
Please.
Ooh, that was maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you which department. I'll let you know after the meeting. which
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right. Up next is public comments. Mr. Ellen Pearman.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm
Morning.
Joellen Pearman from St. George Island, and I was wondering, I haven't heard, which doesn't mean, if any progress has been made on the fire hydrant department. I believe in the budget, there's money left in the public safety department,
Yes.
and I thought possibly that could be used. I went by and I've gone by to see Nita, and she gave me an estimate of the fire hydrants, which doesn't do anybody any good. But
Yeah.
do you know if any progression's been made at all?
Other than talking to her about that estimate, I don't think there's been any progression, but Miss Aaron's not here, so I don't know immediately the answer, but I do think there are funds that was not encumbered from that.
And that is
Stuff
public
like-
safety.
It is public safety, yes, ma'am.
And
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody gets struck by lightning with these storms and
Yep.
stuff, there's a lot of sitting ducks over there,
Yes,
building
ma'am.
$1 million houses.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yep.
I'd appreciate.
Yes, ma'am. We'll follow up and get you an answer to that.
Thank you very
Yes, ma'am.
much.
Sure will. Mr. Richard Bracken.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Richard Bracken, and my wife and I, we are starting a recycling service for Gulf County, Franklin County, and part of Mexico Beach. Christy has 25 years of treasury and revenue accounting experience in financial services, and I have 30 years of experience in management, corporate management, financial accounting. We are wanting to start a recycling service for the residential homes and businesses. For the residential homes, we will collect the aluminum tins, cardboard, paper, glass, plastic, and the styrofoams. For the business, pretty much the same thing. We will go to the homes and collect it from the homes rather than actual curbside, but it depends on what the homeowners would want. For the mainly we'll be targeting the vacation home because of the large turnover with that volume of homes. So we'll to accommodate the rental guests and the property managers. That's the hence of going to the homes where they don't have to transfer the trash cans and bins to the curbsides. And for the businesses, we'll just go and collect the cans and bottles and any other recyclables from their business wherever they kind of store everything. We will have scattered locations of free bins at the libraries, different government buildings. Somewhere it's kind of at churches. Somewhere it would be safe to assume that people going out of the way to deliver recyclables can actually participate in the recycling business. So,
Okay.
questions?
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Bracken?
Mr. Chairman, if, you see, I included the handouts that he sent as
Yes.
part of your agenda,
Yes.
so. Was there some contact information in there, sir? Or if you would you just email me some contact information?
Yes, sir.
And I will then pass it on to them so they can reach out to you one-on-one.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah, it's definitely a good discussion to have, and we thank you.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to introduce myself to let you know what we're
Yep.
doing. I didn't want to surprise you all.
Oh, no, you're good. Thank you, Mr. Bracken.
And there has been discussion between him and Fonda.
Okay,
Davis,
good.
Who's coming up here.
All right,
next.
good. All right, Mr. Fonda Davis, Solid Waste Director.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Fonda.
Nothing on my report, I just need to bring up about this litter ordinance. It seems like we may need to make some changes. I understand we have to go through a workshop maybe, and I have to get Mr. Schuler. We had some issues come up about some debris being piled up on the side of the road. And when we went to address the issue, the resident, the property owner, said they misunderstood the ordinance. So it's becoming a problem all over the county.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to start out by saying I asked Mr. Davis to be here today on behalf of the county and the Solid Waste Department because the issue that arose was an individual was clearing off their property, an acre or more, and piled the debris on the side of the road and was under the assumption that the county was responsible for picking that debris up. We were called some bad names and accused of doing certain things, but in the ordinance itself, it does not state anything about the debris removal on the side. You know, our county provides where we allow certain property owners to put their yard debris, and by yard debris I mean like saplings, little tree trimmings, leaves, things of that nature on the side of the road, and the county picks those items up. But this was never intended to be a service where you're basically clearing off or helping an individual clear off their property, even though if they're doing it themselves. I mean, we're talking loads and loads of debris. And so, again, we met with these individuals, and they were under the assumption that was the case. And I tried to explain emphatically that's not the intent of what this is. But it was a topic that was up for discussion. So in the ordinance itself, like I said, it doesn't say anything about the debris pickup. I think we maybe need to add it so that there is no question in terms of what the county provides for that service. And in addition to that, on the solid waste website, I think is where the confusion came from, is where you go to the website and it explains what the debris pickup is, and it specifically states 18-inch diameter limbs, things of that nature. So we need to modify that to reflect what the county's responsibility is in terms of what our service is for that. Mr. Davis and I spoke about it. We tried to come up with ways. My recommendation too on the ordinance, in addition to putting the debris, the litter pickup, is the penalties and enforcements. I think that we're too lenient with some of our ordinances in terms of the penalties. So I'd like to make some changes on that. And I think, Mr. Davis, I think you're in agreement on that too, right? Making the penalties much stricter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's just some things I want changed. And again, I can read an ordinance in black and white, and Commissioner Sanders can read an ordinance in black and white, and we may interpret it different ways. And I think these individuals interpreted what was stated and what was written, misinterpreted it, and so that's kind of what led them to believe that what they were doing was within the normal bounds of what our service is. But I want to emphasize and explain that I can't see this service continuing on. You know, we're going to the transfer station. I mean, I would like to have the litter debris picked up. Now, I think we're moving more towards the mandatory garbage pickup, which I'm for. So maybe we can get it still to be a service. But I just want people to understand that that's something that's going to be changing in the future too. Is this whole taking stuff to the landfill because we're going to a transfer station, and we have to close our landfill, all that kind of stuff, which we've had those discussions in these meetings before. But those are just my thoughts. I think the penalty should be a little greater. I think we need to add what specifically we are doing with these, with what is considered the service that the county provides with the litter debris pickup on the sides of the roads. I see couches. I took a grill off the side of the road not too long ago, took it to the landfill myself because people just throw junk on the side of the road. And I know that's what this is supposed to prevent, but this is not to be, garbage is not to be picked. This is just for yard debris, period. Not for a couch, not for a chair, not for a grill, not for anything like that, mattresses. So that's why I wanted the board to ask Mr. Davis to be here today. I don't know what the board's thoughts are on it. I don't know if you've looked at it, but these are just things that I've seen and we've dealt with this past week, Mr. Davis and I. So.
That's good, Commissioner. It sounds like you at least got past that issue, but I do agree with you. After talking with Mr. Davis about the similar issue, I went back and reread to familiarize myself with it, and I don't think the intent of what the board passed back then had anything to do with clearing your lot. I don't see that because they allow for it to be put side the road. We also allow it every Monday. They can bring it to the landfill, correct? Isn't that still a thing for tree trimmings and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that's what's posted on the website. There's plenty of opportunity there, but I think it goes past the intent of what was written, but I agree with you, maybe it needs some clarification, so intent is not misunderstood. Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, and I think a while back, many years back, Lanark had a problem with that. And people coming in, clearing out the lots and stuff, and we had a problem back when Van Johnson was a director, and he took care of it. And he made sure, and I thought we had put it in some kind of writing, because it wasn't just Lanark, it was other areas too, that people were piling all their debris from clearing the lot off. And see, a lot of people don't realize that when you hire that person to clear that, you need to hire a person to clear off the lot, first of all. And when you hire that, then that person needs to charge you, or to charge the person that's getting the lot cleared off for taking it to the landfill or wherever they're gonna take it to.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening is, a lot of them in the past, now I'm not saying the ones now, so don't call my phone and complain, but I'm saying in the past, what they have done is charge the people for taking it off and then just pile it up down the road, alongside the road.
Yep, they have.
And, that's not what the intent was. The intent was to get that stuff, if you had to haul it off, that you could bring it to the landfill. But, it needs to go because we don't have the capabilities of we do, but we don't. Right. It's not, everybody doesn't get that service, Mine, I take and pile it up and burn it. And that's what I do when I can burn. But and that's what you usually do when you clear off a lot. You take it, put everything in the middle, let it get dried out a little bit, burn it. So we do need to do that because it can get pretty thick out there on the shoulders of the road, and I'm scared somebody might run off the shoulder of the road and hit it, or something, or hurt themselves.
So I think, and of course, that's what, as a public hearing, I think that's what the public hearing would be for, was to come up with ideas, Mr. Davis, in terms of, you and I spoke a lot about what we can and how we can change the ordinance to reflect, hopefully, nobody's misinterpretation of what it means. Right. But if it's okay, I would like to make a motion to schedule a public hearing to amend our litter ordinance number 2016-06, ordinance prohibiting the littering, dumping, and leaving, placing, or disposing of trash debris in the county.
Second by comments.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner Croom. Go ahead, Commissioner.
I was actually in the presence of Mr. Davis, where he got blessed pretty good about an issue last Monday. So I think I think we do need to really revisit and define this ordinance here.
Yeah, we both got blessed, unfortunately, but we were able to come up with a solution and explain some things, and hopefully we're all understanding now of what it means, and changing this, I hopefully will prevent that from happening in the future, so. And I thank you for being here, Mr. Davis, today. I know it's not your typical meeting day, but thanks for taking the time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any more
Thank you
discussion
all.
before we vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Okay,
All right.
Did you
Anything
have-
else, Mr. Davis?
Thanks.
Did you have anything else to add?
that's it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Thank you, Fonda. I appreciate it.
He's had a
Thank
rough
you,
week. He had a rough week last week, bless his heart.
Didn't have a report, so we'll leave
Okay.
it to next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Jennifer Daniels, Emergency Management Director.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I only have two things today. The bid packages that came in last board meeting, our evaluators went through them, scored them, and I'm here to request the board's approval of what the evaluators have chosen.
Okay.
On the first one, sorry. On the first one, I'm here to request the board's approval to award the contract for debris monitoring to the following contractors. We had 4 that bid. We usually award the top 3, and I don't have a contract ready. I've got to get with Mr. Michael to get that done. But I'd like to award the first one to Debris Tech, the second to Tetra Tech, and the third one to True North.
So moved to approve these awards.
Okay, so a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion, Commissioners? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Okay, and the second is requesting the board's approval to award the contract for debris removal to the following contractors. The first is Ceres, the second is Crowder Golf, and the third is Phillips and Jordan.
So move.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward with a second being made by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous, 4-0. Anything else, Ms. Jennifer?
No, sir, that's all I have. I'll get with Mr. Schuler and get contracts worked out and get them signed and take care of the rest.
All right, sounds good.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman, I
you.
got one thing for you, real quick,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Jennifer. I know we're storm ready.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
And just so the public is aware, how did you guys go about choosing these individuals, companies?
We had 3 different people evaluate all the bids that came in. We had Jeannie Devlin, she's the contractor for our PA grants, our public assistance grants. We had Amanda Anthony, which is one of our staff members at the EOC, and then I had Mr. Fonda Davis from Solid Waste, because he's with the landfill. The 3 different individuals take all of the packets that are sent in. They evaluate them with a criteria that we have listed that is following regulation for us to be in compliance with FEMA for reimbursement. And they score them, and then they submit the scores back to me. We key the scores into the Excel spreadsheet, then I have them come in and sign them, and we average the scores out of each, add the 3 together and average them out by 3 and get whoever ranks top.
Thanks for
I
sharing
hope
that.
that's better. I'm terrible at that.
Sounds pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Rowland?
So, Steve, I just checked with Steve, he's on his way, he should be here in a few
Okay.
minutes. I don't know if you want to go ahead and skip to my report, because Erin also had a meeting with a vendor this morning, concrete contractor. So
Yes.
she's on her way back to the office.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to your report then.
So, yeah, I am on page 11, I'm sorry, start on page 10. And this is the only discussion action item I have. So commissioners, that you guys are aware, we've been talking about this for some time, the contract with Alliant Management Services for Weems Memorial Hospital will expire at the end of October. Some of you commissioners have reached out to me and asked me to add an item like this, add this item to my report for discussion with the intention of notifying Alliant that the county would like to negotiate a contract extension. 2 things, Mr. Kozar is aware of this. I contacted him yesterday and said, we will talk this afternoon after the, after this meeting. I would let him know what the board is thinking. Commissioners, I would say that Attorney Schuler and I would be the ones that you may want to engage in the discussions.
Yep.
And then I'll let, the next question is, where are we with the consultant? And I'd let Attorney Schuler update you on that. We had a meeting yesterday, which I think went really well. And so I think we're working on a lot of the issues that we've had. So if you want to.
So before we start the discussion, I want to clarify something, and I missed it last night, or I would have called, or yesterday during the day, I would have called. It says will expire at the end of October. I thought it expired at the end of November.
No, sir, October 31st.
I thought it was October 31st, but
I think it is October 31st.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I just wanted to make sure what we were talking about. Yes, so what are we talking about, doing maybe a 6-month extension instead of a 1 year? I mean, what are,
yes, I would say based on the.
because it's
discussion-
gonna depend on the other discussion.
Based on the discussion we had yesterday, I would say 6 months.
Okay.
I did inform the consultant of what we were doing today and considering 6 months, and he
Yes.
was fine with that.
Okay.
He said he didn't think it would take him that long.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So with the consultant, I mean, right now, we're still working out the kinks with the contract, correct?
Yes, sir?
So.
Correct.
And I guess that to me, that's taken longer than what is anticipated, you know,
It
or
did.
expected.
It did.
So are we sure that we can have that, this information within 6 months, is my question. on
But
that, with the
well, if
consultant?
we don't, we can always take a similar action like we're taking today and extend it. Or
Another-
talk to them about, yeah. Mhm.
For another 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only reason we're having this discussion is so we're not just automatically extending it for a year. Because then even if we do decide to do something different, we're held in the contract. So that's what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yes.
Address it. The original, or the latest contract with, it's called Blue Mountain Management, also known as Alliant. It started in 2020, then it expired in 2023 for that initial 3-year term, and then it renews automatically in successive 1-year terms unless one of two things happen. I mean, actually, I guess 3, but we're not talking about termination for cause, which would be one of the 3 events. So one of the 2 of the 3 events would be a 90-day notice. So if it extends for a 1-year period, you can give them a 90-day notice at any point during that 1-year period, and you can terminate the contract on 90 days notice. I mean, really, it never was a 3-year contract or a 1-year contract. It's really a 90-day contract.
Right.
So,
Right.
but if the board wants to negotiate a shorter extension, 6 months instead of 1 year, the board just needs to give us those instructions, and that's what we'll do.
I'll tell you this, from being out having to speak with people, speaking with the public and the staff, there's a big, I guess, perception of that this board is against the hospital. And that is, I don't believe it's the case, but I think we also need to be mindful of our delivery on some things, such as, I had to clean this up. That was said, the board is trying to get out the hospital business, as in, like, we're trying to shut the hospital down. I had to clear that up. So we gotta be careful
Yeah.
with and be mindful of our delivery. And because a lot of people think we are against
Yeah.
this hospital.
Well, and thank you, but I do see what you're saying. I do. But at the end of the day, any discussion about the board getting out of the hospital business means that the county has no business running it. In this current state,
And that's what probably
it's
should
under
have
the
been said.
county. It's under the county.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've all said it before, and I don't mind repeating it today. I don't know anything about medical.
Yeah.
That is out of my wheelhouse, and it's a little bit past what I can grasp, without spending really a lot more time on it. So the discussion about getting us out of the hospital business is not saying that we want to close the hospital. The hospital's still open.
All right.
It continues to be open. If the board was trying to close the hospital, I think it would have already happened before now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
think that has anything to do with trying to close it. I do get that it's, this in between can be uncomfortable, but there's really nothing we can do about that, other than maintain the status quo, but then you're still gonna, you're not trying to better anything, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I hope it does.
I think there's stability, that's been the issue, and
Yes.
it's scaring employees off. You're
Yes.
losing a bunch of good employees
Right.
because they don't know which way it's going, so that's, I mean, it's all of that.
Right. Well, and two, Commissioner, these discussions are to try to add stability in the end of it. So that's the reason why we've tried to hire this consultant. That's the reason we're looking at different ways of having the hospital funded federally, which is more advantageous for the county, the sustainability of the hospital. I mean, I think that's exactly what we're shooting for. So, but I get what you're saying, I do.
Yeah.
I've had that same discussion many times.
And I'm not throwing anything, but I'm just saying,
Sure.
like, I guess, our delivery
Yep.
probably need to be a little bit more better.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
But then, Commissioner Crooms, you've always got people that want to stir up problems, and you have to be mindful of it. Now, we had a good reason to close it up back when Mike Lake and Doss Day was over, when he handed the keys to us. Now, we had a good reason to close it back up, but we didn't. We pumped $1.5 million into that, because I know it's monies that was supposed to go to Alligator Point and designated for Alligator Point. I made the decision as commissioner to keep that hospital open. You see, even if let's say we get a contractor, and he recommends, well, you know, you really need to get out of the business, and the hospital is not sufficient, you need to just close the doors and go on. I'm not gonna do that, because you know why? I live here, and I know that the hospital does serve a purpose. It does serve the people that uses it. So, you know, they just need to support us on trying to find answers of how we can, you know, work to get this hospital better than what we've got, to serve the people of the whole county, because it is a county hospital. It is a, you know, whole county. And just to make our lives better in Franklin County, you know. But that's the way I feel about it. I feel like, you know, I'm looking to this contract to come here and tell us, you know, is this hospital self-sustaining? What can we do to make it self-sustaining? That's what I'm doing. Do we need to do something, or do we need to get out of the way and put somebody in here that knows what they're really doing about running a hospital? Yeah. So, because I don't know nothing. I think the only one that has any kind of knowledge about health-wise, medical-wise, is Miss Commissioner Ward over here, because she's a respiratory therapist, you know. I don't know nothing about that. All I know is God gives me the breath to breathe every day, and that's all, you know. But anyway, there's a lot of things. But like I said, never once have we considered closing down the hospital. It's always going to be something. It may not be staying at that level it is now. Hopefully it'll be a higher level, but it won't go no lower than what this level is that we've got, you know. Just it's a bad situation. Like you said, though, can't hardly get people to work there, you know. And so anyway, but you're right in saying we need to be careful of how we deliver. But we do. I mean, we're honest in what we're saying. We don't know nothing about a hospital, you know, and we just try to keep it open.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just add that, yes, I am in the medical field, but I have no business of running. I don't know how to run a hospital either. I just go and help try to save people's lives.
just
But
clock in, huh?
I just clock in and, you know, get called to the ER for somebody that can't breathe and put them on a ventilator or whatever. But, and my intent too is, and then people think that because I work at another facility that I don't want Weems open, or, no, that's not the case. In the medical field, I know and realize how important it is and how time matters. And if you have breathing issues and you're driving from Appalachia to Tallahassee, or even on an ambulance, time matters. And that's why we need Weems. We need Weems. We have to have Weems, because we don't, that is literally the matter of life and death.
Yep.
Period. Plain and simple.
It is.
But I do agree with you. You know, we do say hospital, we need to get out of hospitals. That, my intent for that is, like Commissioner Sanders and the chairman was stating, we don't know anything about running a hospital. Financially, make it sustainable. We've promised these individuals that voted on that ballot back in 2008, some of these same people probably sitting in this room, that we were gonna build a new hospital, and it's not here. And I explained to Mr. Rome just last week, we need to appear, get off the pot. We're either gonna do it or we're not. We need to move forward with it. We need to get the right people in place to guide us in the direction that we need to go, which I think is the way we're going right now with the Baker Tilly and the consultant. So yeah, no, there's no way, in my good conscience, I could ever say no to having Weems, just because of time does matter, so.
And, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just one more point to bring up, because I'm very near to my heart, and that's the reason why the Carabel Clinic, Weems Clinic in the Weems Clinic East is so important to me. It's because over there in the eastern part of the county, that's what serves the whole eastern side of the county. That's all we got. So we either gonna have to go over here to Appalachia for a hospital or either Tallahassee to a hospital. So, and it's very important. That's why we work very hard to make sure that we keep that clinic open in Carabel, because that is somebody's lifeline right there. And I've saw it myself, saving many lives that walk in there. So anyway, just like I said, the hospital is important, but also the clinic, the two clinics, because you've got the one in here in Apalachicola, the health department, and then the clinic in Carabel. So they're all there serving a purpose and a service for the people. That's for sure.
But, Mr. Chairman, you can't run a hospital without doctors and nurses and
Nope.
respiratory therapists and,
Gotta have.
staff, so. So we gotta make sure that we provide a place, as long as we're in the business, provide them a place where they can go to work and do their job and have what they need to do their job effectively and efficiently. And we do have a lot of people that have been there for many, 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 many years and are dedicated to that hospital. And I want to ensure that they, as well as all the rest, have what they need to do what they need to do.
Well, and in addition to that, Commissioner Ward, so the primary method of medical delivery takes dollars. It just does. So that's why we've hired this consultant, Baker Tilly. Not so we automatically gonna do whatever they say to do, but we can have somebody break down and show us the real dollars and cents of which way of funding is gonna work best for our community, so we can do the best by our community, because whatever we wind up doing with Weems is a good first step in healthcare. We have a lot of other needs all across the county. This is just one section, so I'm excited that we're moving forward. I know that it kind of, especially when you start talking about making a contract extension shorter or whatever, all these discussions are what we think seems to be the best way to move forward, but we're not doing it just out of our own echo chamber. That's why we've hired somebody to help us go through the weeds, as it were, and make us be able to understand it.
And my intent was just to clear up the perception.
Oh, yes.
But- So I've been in you have also, I've been in a bunch of living rooms here lately.
Yes, sir.
And a bunch of calls, and the perception was that perception that I previously spoken of. And, as a new commissioner, I'm playing catch up. I'm trying to figure out what's factual and not factual.
That's right.
So that's a big thing for me. I'm having to go back, because I wasn't here when y'all signed the contract with the Lion. And,
Right.
so I'm constantly playing catch up on everything.
That's a lot of reading.
It's a
Yeah,
lot of
it is.
reading, a lot of research.
Yes, it is.
So-
It is.
But, see, I wasn't even here when y'all did a line,
Right.
so I don't know how that was done. But,
Well, I'll say this, Commissioner, for my 2 cents, the easiest answer, I, like the commissioners, I get some of those questions. The easiest answer is, if the county commission wanted to close the hospital, you would reallocate that sales tax that could be used to help a bunch of other things throughout the county. Because it's not actually a healthcare tax, it's a small county tax that could be used for infrastructure. But this board, again and again, chooses not to do that, to use all that money for health care and for Weems and everything else. Well, let me just say, healthcare across the county,
Yeah.
one way or the other.
That's right.
May it be the clinics, may it be Weems, may it be new ambulances, whatever it is, that's what we choose to use it for.
Yep. So how does the board feel about, y'all good with discussing or making a motion today for a 6-month negotiation extension, or what did
I'll agree with
Chairman Harrell
that,
feel?
but I'm not agreeing to a year.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, is Commissioner Amison on?
No.
I want to include him in the
Not yet,
conversation.
but I
He's
will tell you,
available.
I've had this discussion with him up to the weekend, and he is agreeable to 6 months.
Okay.
He's agreeable to 6 months?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to do it, Mr. Chairman. My personal thought is I don't want to do it a year. I like the 6 months. That way, because let's face it, time flies when we're having fun. I think 6 months is a good number,
Yeah.
a good number to add. And if we want to extend it, we can. If we're stuck in that year, then we're stuck in the year.
Yeah.
And we want, maybe do other things or go a different route. So I'm okay with the 6-month option.
All right.
So we need to make that in a motion.
Yes, please.
Tammy? Got your
Um,
answer.
I'll make the motion to
Okay.
negotiate a contract extension for 6 months time period.
So we have a motion to negotiate a 6-month contract extension with Alliant and the County Commission by Commissioner Ward.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion before we vote?
Just one statement.
Yes.
We're doing this because we have a consultant coming on doing, we're doing this action today because we're having a consultant coming on. We don't want to lock ourselves into a year, right?
That's
Correct.
Because
what I
the
understand.
consultant may come back with something.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'll also repeat to you what Attorney Schuler said, that even in a year, you have a 90-day out clause.
Yeah.
So, but I know it's easier to deal with an extension than it is trying to get out of a year's contract. I understand, Commissioners.
Okay.
All right. Any others discussion? All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's a 4-0 vote.
All right, Commissioner, I'll just fly through some of these informational items. The important one is number 2, Opportunity Florida, they have their board meeting on next week, Wednesday the 28th. There's a gentleman, Mr. Mike Muller. He's going to be there to talk about the Job Growth Grant.
Fine.
That grant allows for airport hangars and runway extensions. With that, I know Commissioner Ward always attends, but Commissioner Amison would like to attend because it has airport discussions. So I'm going to put a notice on the website that more than one commissioners may attend, more than one Franklin County commissioners may attend that meeting. Mr. Mr. Baker, he is aware of that, and he will have notices on his end also.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
So I just wanted to let you know that. Item 3 is the same company that does that we use for the agenda. They have a division called Cloud Permit that has, as I said, they're permitting, licensing, planning and zoning, code enforcement, inspection services. We are in discussions with them to get applications to be ready for the RV camper where we will be issuing permits. It covers that, code enforcement, which I think right after the RV camper, we're probably going to shore that up. And then, we have, in Florida, they actually call it, we called it a license. They actually call it a tax certificate. Same difference, but they have software for that too, because we're going to use that for businesses and for the rentals on the island.
Okay.
So we're moving there. The old board files. So the building department, they got all their old, that was over in the jail and everywhere else, they got them all scanned, and they were scanned to the Florida Department of State's specifications for official records. We're doing the same thing with the old board files. I'm going to start with Mr. Pierce's old board files and come forward in time. It'd probably be a 3, maybe a 4 phase because of cost. We'll do it as we can afford it. Rural Counties Day. Hey, Aaron, Rural Counties Day. There she's gone. March 19th and 20th. The reception is on the 19th from 6 to 8. If you're planning to attend, let Courtney know as soon as possible so she can register you. She will be registering this week. The county, which Mr. John Solomon, like last year, will handle that. Commissioner Sanders, John said he has some surprises for you, that other things to add to the display for that day in the
Good.
courtyard. So he wanted me to let you know that, but we're moving forward with that. Mr. Berry, I have attached to your report, I attached Mr. Berry's submissions as part of that technical advisory committee. He's actually here today. If you have any questions with that, you can ask Mr. Berry. You saw the letter from the state stating that downtown Carabel Historic District as National Park Service They officially listed it, so that's there. You have a copy of that letter you can circulate. Courtney at the city has a copy of that letter also. I verified that with her. You know, your next meeting date is on the 3rd, in the afternoon at 5:15. Aaron, if I'm wrong, tell me, but I think it's at 5:15 is a budget work, your first budget public hearing, not workshop. That's when the public is able to, like any other public hearing, they come and they address you about the budget and ask you, make possible changes. Keep in mind, we can go down, but we cannot go up. Except for an instance that Erin's going to describe in her report with the tax collector's office, but I'll let her handle that. And the 9 was, I'd already uploaded my report and I opened the mail and there it was, the DOT, they have a hybrid public meeting for a proposed 20.5 mile multi-use project, multi-use trail project along State Road 30, also US 98. The meeting is over there.
Summer camp.
Yeah, summer camp, thank you, sir, their event meeting room. It's gonna be on September 12th at 5:30, 6:30. There's a flyer attached if you need help with logging in, or if you wanna send them a letter on county letterhead, let me know from each commissioner individually, I'll get that done.
Mr. Chairman, this is just a quick question. This multi-use trail, that is basically connecting in Wakulla County.
I think it's picking up for Wakulla County.
The multi-use trail from there all the way, it's supposed to go through, all the way through Franklin County to Gulf County and intersect and just continue on down,
Yes.
right?
So it must be the one in Panacea, because
It is.
Shop
It is.
Choppy don't have.
No, it comes
There's got
around,
to be
yes,
one
ma'am.
from Panacea, so it'll come on down by Alligator Point Road and all.
And Mr. Chairman, I got a question, Michael, on your item number 4.
I should have paused, shouldn't I?
It's okay.
Yes.
So, I know that I've complained about not being able to find ordinances on Unicode.
I'm sorry, I didn't mention that.
Okay,
Go ahead,
all right.
Commissioner.
I was just saying, I've been frustrated and told Michael, I said, I can't find this ordinance on Unicode. I hate Unicode. You type in a word, it takes you down this rabbit hole of something that may or may not be applicable to what you're looking for. We have to contact Miss Jessica Gay to get an actual ordinance, have her pull it up from the courthouse files, and I don't like to do that. I want to be able to look up something on my own. I know with this 2016-6, we couldn't find that on Unicode, so we had to get Miss Jessica Gay to pull it. So thank you for taking time out of your day. We shouldn't have to do that. That's the
agree.
whole purpose of Unicode. So I've talked to you about how to streamline that, and I appreciate your direction that you're taking with this, because I think this is going to be easier to be able to find our ordinances. But with that being said, do we still need Unicode?
Yes, so I
Because I don't want to pay for Unicode and then have it this way, and then that makes no sense. If
think-
Unicode's not doing us any good.
Yeah, Commissioner, I think so. I think here's the problem with Unicode. I don't know when is the last time we contacted Unicode to update the level of service that they provide for us. I know for sure, I don't think this clerk has, and I don't remember when I worked for Mrs. Johnson that what I met there is what we use and what we've been using. So I am also going to contact Unicode, which was recommended by the clerk, and see what are we missing out on? Because we haven't kind of talked to you guys in quite a few years, what are we missing out on? And then make a decision, because what this company is offering is the ordinance in, I'll use the term, the purest form. The form that Attorney Schuler does for you, that you sign, that will be scanned into the system, but it will be able to be searched by text, kind of like your minutes, basically. Unicode offers what I would say like a codified, a pretty version, where you can find it and it breaks it down into laws with references, blah, 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 and it will tell you, well, this ordinance, superseded another ordinance or made another ordinance. So do we need both? It all depends on what you're looking for. But once I get a better understanding from Unicode as to what else they offer, then I can come back to the board and say, okay, here's the 2 offerings. Do you want both? Do you want one over the other? And then I'll let you guys know.
Okay. Yeah, because there's got to be a better way.
Yes.
I mean, there's got to be a better way.
The chairman has done some research, and he has found other cities that
Very organized.
it looks really nice using
Yeah.
Unicode. The clerk has
Yes.
done some research, and she says almost every other county use Unicode, so I think it's us, something we're missing out on. So, but I still like to have.
She's got her hand raised.
Well, I'm sorry. Give her the mic, please.
There's actually a way to look up
do, each one has a special code. So like if you put in a search, like say Lanark, you put in Lanark, and it'll show the code numbers. You click on those numbers, it'll bring up that ordinance. So,
I'm sorry. It doesn't actually bring up the ordinance itself. The way I understand it is Municode is like the code of ordinances. It's not the actual ordinances themselves.
Yeah.
It's
like
like
a codified,
yeah, exactly, yes.
So then you have to call our office and get the ordinance.
So that's my point. Like how do I know what the code is or what the code means or what ordinance it's attached to? I want to be able to type in a word, just like I told you about the minutes. You know, we started that. I'm like, I want to be able to type in something with our minutes and be able to look it up instead of having to call Jessica Gay every week.
Right.
So, and we did that. So we should be able to do the same with this, where I can type in a word, say litter or yard side debris, and it populate that 2006-06 ordinance or 2016-06 ordinance. So that I know when somebody asks me a question or tries to say, well, that ordinance says this, and I'm like, I don't think that ordinance says that, and I can look it up and say, here's the ordinance, and for our own investigative purposes, because I investigate stuff all the time. I mean, I'm always on Municode trying to look. I even go, like you said, I have gone to other cities and counties on Municode and looked up stuff too, and it does seem to be more organized, but there's just got to be a better way.
Yes, we're working on that.
And I did reach out to several clerks, and they use the same. There's no other vendor that is really as good as Municode. I know that's you know, I think it's still a work in progress, but I mean, I'm still trying to find a different vendor, but they're just not.
That's
out
probably
there.
why he didn't really care when I saw him down south at one of our conferences, and I said, "Your service sucks. Y'all need to do better." I did tell the guy that. I so did. I'm like, "Listen, y'all got to do better. I mean, y'all I can't find nothing." And he didn't say anything. He's like, "Well, this is how I can help you." He just kind of looked at me, just kind of was like, gave me this RBF face, and I was like, "Okay."
I found out though, but I believe Municode is only within the state of Florida.
Yes.
I don't know if they don't do any other county cities outside of Florida.
Not that I'm aware
Yeah.
of. And
So I
also
didn't know that before either.
There's also a training coming up too.
Yes, I've
on
registered for that one.
Yeah, so that might be helpful too, and that we could ask those questions, you know, to
Yeah.
see what we can do to better the program.
Because I've had residents even call me, people in the community, be like, "Hey, this ordinance on this, I can't find it. Can you find it?" And I'm like, "I think we have some special powers."
Well,
And I'm like, "No, I look it up the same way you look it up."
I think the overlay, the St. George Island overlay, that I got more emails about that WISE and that on Municode than any other ordinance I think ever.
Yeah.
So but anyway, I'm glad you brought this up because
Okay.
it was in my. I blew right past it and I shouldn't have. I should have stopped
And one more
discussed it.
question for you. Are we getting, I know we got ARPC looking at our land zoning codes, things like that. Are they also gonna eventually look at our ordinances and try to kind of update those? Because I know some of our ordinances probably needs to be updated as well.
Yes. So they will. Yes, the short answer is yes.
Okay.
I'm going to have just in as far as it relates to planning and zoning and those type of ordinances. Anything outside of that is outside of their wheelhouse for the most part.
Because there's some ordinances I look up and I'm like, this doesn't even exist anymore. This isn't even applicable anymore. Because this was, let's face it, 5 years ago, Franklin County is not now Franklin County. And I plan on meeting with Steve and Attorney Schuler in the upcoming weeks about ordinances. But, you know, it's just I don't know. We've got to get with the times on some of these things because, again, I've learned that people can misinterpret ordinances, and I want to make sure we have everything to where it's no loopholes, no misinterpretation of what they mean.
I'm still shocked what you told the vendor, but we'll talk about it.
I did. I did tell him that.
Mr. Rowan, I think we'll also find as we're talking with Municode that I hate to say it this way, we're probably getting what we've been paying for.
For years.
It's probably kind of where it is.
I think it's
They
a
probably have us locked in at the lowest level of
Level of
service,
service.
and that's what we're getting is the lowest level of service.
Yes, so yeah, this training will be good, and then I saw the look from Commissioner.
You get what you pay for in America.
Yeah,
that's all
he
I'm
gave me
saying.
that look. No, yeah, but I will. After that training and after I talk to I'll show you guys both at some point here at a meeting, and you guys let me know which way you want to go.
Okay.
I have a few other things that out the way that wasn't listed, then I'll be through. The Carabel Senior Center. So Courtney is working, is gathering information. I reached out to Lisa Bretz. Actually, she emailed me back on a Sunday. That was shocking. about helping us to create the ad, to move forward to run the ad as soon as possible. So we're working on that. So I should have that to you here. I'll try my best for the next meeting. If not, it'll be, for sure it'll be the one after that. SHIP training. So we have a training this afternoon, Courtney and I do for SHIP, and then we're gonna travel to Tallahassee on Thursday to Florida Housing for some SHIP training. So we should get that on the roll because we have some money to spend for SHIP. Royce, he's over there looking down. He will not be at the next hospital board meeting to stream it live, so he wanted you to know that he'll be out of town. Unfortunately, he won't be able to make that meeting. And finally, Attorney Schuler is gonna, in his report, talk about a public hearing for the flood ordinance. Angela would like all the commissioners to contact her before that public hearing so she could shore up that draft ordinance as best as possible, so that we're kind of all on, close to being on the same page, and you guys could publicly discuss it and tweak it as you see it. So give her a call as soon as you can. And Commissioners, that is the end of my report for today.
Anyone have anything for Mr. Morone before we go back to planning and zoning? Thank you, Michael.
Yes,
Mr. Patterson, you doing the planning and zoning adjustment board report today, sir? I'll take that as a yes. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I have 5 critical shoreline applications and a few other things. The critical shorelines can be considered as one motion, or you may request to discuss any one as a separate motion.
Okay, Commissioners, are y'all wanting to pull any of these, or y'all wanting to discuss them, do them all as one motion?
I'm okay with all of them, personally, Mr. Chairman.
I've only got one question on the, it's just a question. It's not an actual how I'm gonna vote on nothing. On the A, on the 1569,
Yes, ma'am.
they said on here, on the application for it, it said that the boat slips, not boat lifts. What's the difference between a slip and a lift?
Well, a slip would be where you just park the boat. It's got a spot to park the boat in, and the lift would be mechanical.
Okay, so he's just gonna leave the boat on the side of the dock?
It would float, yes, it would, the boat would just float in the water. That
Okay.
doesn't say that later on they don't come to us and ask for a boat lift permit, which is a separate permit.
Can they sneak it in, Steve?
Like, of course they can sneak it in. People sneak stuff all the time, but
That's what it looks like to me. They're gonna sneak it in. Y'all know I got,
Okay, so the biggest thing between the slip and the lift is power, to be very honest with you,
yeah.
Commissioner.
now, and we're gonna start doing some things differently in our, we're gonna start going out and taking pictures of all the sites, starting next month's meeting.
Compare it.
We're gonna, so you're gonna have some pictures with it to look at, to show each site, and
That's the only
we've been
question I had
discussing,
about it.
we've been discussing some things. The other thing I want to get some direction on, it's not gonna be done today, but just, our power to docks. We generally don't give power to docks if there's not a residence there. But, and that's just something for y'all to keep in mind, that if we, direction from y'all one way or the other that we do give power to vacant land docks, or we don't. We haven't been generally, but.
Mr. Chairman, and I'm glad you brought that up, Steve, because there's been confusion on my part. Because I know in the past, we've decided that, or I've taken the stance that I'm not gonna vote in favor of any dock that is asking for a lift with power unless there's a primary structure. Well, I was under the assumption, the process was, the property owner requested a permit with a lift that would provide power. And once that happens, we said yes, as a board, they would go call Duke and get power to that dock. And then they would put an RV there because they had power. But it was told to me last week when I was thinking, okay, I obviously don't know how the process here is, that's not how it works. The property owner asked for a lift with the power, and the county is the one.
We have to approve the power pole.
Yeah, so.
You can't just give them power. Now, that does happen in the.
And that's my
happened,
confusion.
but-
Historically, it's happened in the past.
But, and historically, the building department has issued power for docks. We have, because of the,
RVs.
board's, my feelings from the way the board is, we have not been given power to docks, and probably, I bet we haven't done it in a year.
Okay, because that's where I was.
But I would like some clear definition from y'all at some point of is that the right way for us to do it?
I believe it's the
Vacant
right
land,
way, so-
vacant land, no power to docks.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Mr. Chairman, the way I feel is as long as you are in control of it and nobody's getting power without us knowing about it, I'm okay with that. Because I don't mind somebody having a dock on their vacant piece of property without a primary structure. But again, we've all been burnt in the past where we say okay, and they're putting RVs on it, making a fish camp out of it.
And that's what happened over in Lanark.
Yeah.
You know,
So
St. James.
I'm okay, and I was confused with the process, I guess, because like I said, it's kind of been both ways. Historically, Duke has given power, but then the county has also given power. So and I called Michael, I'm like, well, am I really delusional or did I misinterpret something? And he's like, no, because there has been times where
No,
Duke
it
has.
was the policy or practice when I came in that it was, if a dock wanted power, a dock got power. That was how it used to be.
Yeah, and I told her about the problem that you had where, and this was Duke Energy's fault, you know, remember Steve talked to Danny Collins that there was some office, Duke office out of Wakulla.
I think it was one side of Wakulla.
They were giving power whether or not Steve did an inspection.
That's why,
And we had to stop that.
that's why it was happening over in the eastern
That's right, on
part
the
of
eastern end, we were
Canada.
having that problem, you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, and it took a while, but Steve was able to work with Danny and they got it stopped, so.
Well, whenever we do something with RVs, a lot of this will go away. Because then we won't have to be doing it to try to resolve a separate issue that has nothing to do with the lift or the dock or anything opposed to it. Mr. Patterson, before we proceed, C, D, and E, do they all have primary structures? Because they're all asking for lifts.
They do, Mr. Chairman, I can answer
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went and looked at
Okay.
all of them.
Okay.
That's the one I had a question on today.
Okay.
And E, Mr. Chairman,
Mhm.
if you go to the documentation that they give you, go to the property appraiser's website, it doesn't look like there's a home on the property, but there's a note that says there's a single-family residence on the property.
Okay.
Right, this is, E is the one that's going, there's a lot that they own between them, but it's like an unbuildable lot. And they're gonna have that's the 315-foot boardwalk going over that piece of property.
Okay.
From the one property to the dock. So that's why that's included on E.
Okay. So, any more discussion or questions about any of these before we proceed? So we can try to do them all in one motion. If you would, just read the caption or the address for every one of them, Steve, and we'll just go from there.
1569 Alligator Drive, 1743 East Gulf Beach Drive, 1633 Alligator Drive, 1589 Alligator Drive, and 1115 East Gulf Beach.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sanders and Commissioner Crew. Any discussion, additional discussion, I should say? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right, go ahead, sir.
I have commercial site plans, can be done as one motion, or we can consider it in separate motions. 2118 Highway 98, it's consideration of a request to construct an 850 square foot beach cottage, a tiki hut, and 4 RV or boat parking spots. It's in Caravelle, actually Lanark, submitted by Eddie Gulston. He's the owner.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
My vote on that's gonna be no, as it was at the first process that he came through.
Mhm.
And my vote is still no. I think that's a bad area. And I have a problem with the 4 RV boat parking slips because it's not about 25 foot from the water. So that's my problem right with it. And I believe with those 4 units that he already has out there, I believe that's sufficient enough. And I know, like I've told y'all before, that area, when we have a major storm, it's gonna be bottlenecked. And all that's gonna be, with that you see right there, one day, you're gonna see it on Highway 98. And that's a bad spot.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question too on
Yes.
2118. So it's on C3, which what he's requesting is allowed per the zoning. However, I have a question about the cottage. I guess he's wanting to do a 850 square feet beach cottage. It doesn't have cottage industries in there. Does that, the square footage on the C3, does it have a, because I couldn't find where it says, you know how some of our zoning code says minimum 1,000 square feet. This is 850 square feet. I know we have cottage industry, which is 450 square feet, but nowhere in the C3 zoning does it state how much square footage minimum requirement is.
We have to look at the definition
Yeah, we'll have to look at the definition on that.
and get with Justin. I'm sorry, the planner. We'll probably look at that again and get with planning and get
Okay.
the question answered for you.
Okay. That was my only question I had about it, but if Commissioner Sanders says no, then I'm gonna vote, I agree with her.
Y'all go whatever way y'all want to.
I mean,
That's just the
well,
way I got
if
it.
anything, we need to get that question answered about the square footage, because it's not a cottage industry, and it's, you know, some zonings would require 1,000 square feet minimum. This is 850, but it didn't have the cottage industry zoning, which is 450 square feet. So that was a question I had on that.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yes.
Now, I've not reviewed or made any analysis of this particular application, but when you're dealing with commercial properties, the size of the structure is based on basically the floor area ratio, and that's something that the planner is going to have to calculate and to come back and tell you that the maximum lot coverage is, you know, whatever he calculates it to be based on that floor area coverage. So that's why commercial is a little bit different.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
I know it has no bearing on it whatsoever, but I'm just going as a lifelong resident. I've seen people die on that curve. I've saw people, a lot of things get mangled, and it's just a bad, bad area. Now, before, when all that was happening, nothing was on that property. So if something happens now, it's really gonna be bad. But anyway, that's my idea, and, I mean, that's my
It is.
feelings. And like I said,
Do we have an aerial of the,
I got it right.
like the, I mean,
No.
not the site plan, but the actual,
That?
like the property appraisers, when the aerial view
Oh,
of it,
like-
showing the curve of the highway right there.
It's on the
Yeah.
yeah.
All you gotta do is, but anyway, that's, like I said, I voted
just
no
thinking
on
for
the
any
first
commissioner
phase
that-
of it. I'm voting no on the second phase of it, because I just think it's a bad area. It's a bad area. Because all these years, nobody's ever built anything on it before, so, I mean, because it's bad. But anyway, that.
Is that your motion? Are you
No,
making a
I
motion?
had. No, I'm gonna let y'all decide it. I'm just voting no.
So it sounds like we're doing these separate, Mr. Patterson. So we'll go ahead and handle this one, because that's what it sounds like. So
Well, you
is
still
it the
have
pleasure of the board to
about
table
that?
this to get an answer to the 850 square feet? And then we'll bring it back next month, or what do y'all just want, what do y'all want to
I
do?
was going to ask, would you prefer that we table it, Commissioner Sanders?
I'm
and-
still gonna be voting no.
I know, and get Commissioner Ward's questions answered, and let the
Okay.
applicant know what your issues with the project, and then see what he wants to do and
I
come
think
back.
I've
You
made-
good with that, sir?
I think I've made that pretty clear what my issues are on the project, so. But anyway, I mean, we can table it.
Okay.
I don't have no problem tabling it.
I make a motion to table it.
All right, so we have a motion to table by Commissioner Croom,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ward. Any additional discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous, 4-0. All right, on with the second one, sir.
43 Island Drive. It's got consideration of a request to construct a 2,016-foot, one-story open pole barn. Request submitted by Geo Florida for Jason White Construction. This is on his site there on Island Drive with
Their business,
where his
Yeah.
business is. He's
That's right.
already got everything there. It's just a place to park his equipment.
yes.
Yeah, I look, Mr. Chairman, I looked at this, and he does have buildings there. It's a business. It's zoned correctly. I'm gonna motion to approve this.
All right, so we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
I mean,
second by both Commissioner Sanders and Commissioner Croom. Any additional discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
All right. Then we have a final plat approval for Twin Lakes Estates. A consideration of final plat approval to reconfigure 21 lots for single-family residential lots north of Twin Lakes Road, East Point, Florida, Franklin County.
Okay.
Request submitted by Kimberly L. Johnson, agent for Watkins Properties LLC.
Okay. I have no issues with it. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion?
Do they
Seeing-
want to say anything?
Do what now?
I was going to see if they.
They're
think
probably
they
good with
probably
an
okay
affirmative
with
vote.
it. Okay.
All right, seeing no additional discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous, 4-0. All right,
Lot reconfiguration, 114 Indiana Street. It's a consideration to a request to reconfigure lots 16, 21, and 22, Block P, Lanark Village Beach Subdivision Unit 1. Lots 21 and 22 will need to be shortened by 20 foot in order to have room between the pool located on Lot 16 and the property line. Pool borders existing property line now. In order to keep Lot 21 as a buildable lot, equal square footage will need to be transferred between Lots 16 and 21 as shown on boundary survey. Request submitted by William S. and Pamela A. Brown applicants.
Okay, let's talk about this. Mr. Sheila, the last time it brought up, I was concerned. Remember I told you it was the pizza house, what I call the pizza house out there with the red roof out there at Lanark? And I see that on the house, where the house is at, Steve, they got a for sale sign on it. So what does he intend to do? Because right here, this is confusing right here.
It was confusing to me too.
It's confusing to you too?
It's, so
Thank you.
the pool was built, when the pool was built, they had enough land because they owned all the lots. But now they're trying to
sell off the lot.
sell off the lots, and the pool, and this is to make the lots conform by changing around because of the pool. And
That's not mine. Huh.
So the pool, Mr. Chairman, sorry, is impeding on them having full use of the property to sell off the lots. So either they need to move the pool, or we can vote in favor of this hypothetically to let them, allow them to sell off the lots.
correct.
Or there's a third option. It's a subdivision, right? Does it have any common areas in the subdivision?
It ain't no subdivision.
It's not a real subdivision.
Well, it says subdivision unit.
It's just subdivided. It's not like we,
It's not a,
like
Okay.
it's not like you got HOAs or anything.
that's,
It's confusing to me because I know the area, and it's confusing. So you're just telling me that because they built the swimming pool into a lot, into another lot,
well, it's, I think it's on this lot. If I, I don't have the aerial of it.
well, there's a swimming pool right there on that first picture.
Everything else is pictures.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, that's
that
like
help?
that. Yeah, that's the,
So, let me ask you a
That's on
question.
the side right there, that's the side. of the-
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Patterson. So, all it is reconfiguring lot lines, and if they redraw these lines, it's still gonna allow them, all these properties to still be to consider R1 properties? In other words, but it's something they legally have to get changed, is that what you're saying?
correct, to be able to.
But they don't own all the lots down the front side. On the 98th side, they don't own all the lots on the 98th side though.
No, those, and we had a meeting on them last month, I think.
Uh-huh.
They were, because they changed those,
And that's what
they
he,
changed those lots. But it was all, I think it was all one piece of property at one time, and it's been,
it was all one piece of property, and I wonder how it got this way. Now, I know that I asked the property appraiser to look at it, and they said, she said that Mr. Hans, because I knew him, and I know him,
so you can
had
see where,
changed it.
you can see on that where the property line, if you might
Yeah.
watch those property lines, so they're wanting to move it the 20 foot and then come into that other one, so that's what they're wanting to do.
and come into that other lot.
Here. So that's, so see these two, they're wanting to move it 20 feet to the, I guess that's to the west.
But isn't it gonna make the other lots smaller than what's actually required by the county to be?
Well, that's why the one is getting the pie shape cut into
Yeah.
it.
So that
is
makes
to
it a
get-
full acre?
To take it out to, well, it won't be a full acre.
That's what I'm saying. It's supposed to be a full acre on there. And I don't see no hardship nowhere.
Right.
Just somebody trying to make some money.
Right. I think because they were lots of record, they were buildable. They're not less than an acre, but they're lots of record right there.
Right, this is, again, something that Mark had worked on with the property owner. I saw the presentation for the first time at the P and Z meeting last week, and like you, I was somewhat confused by what they were doing, but, you know, I basically did what I've always done, which is defer to Mark. I mean, he's the planner. This was his recommendation of how they could do what they wanted to do and still meet the county code and have buildable lots. But if the board wants me to look into this or meet with the new planner and review the matter and report back, I'll be happy to do that as well.
Well,
I
I
just need
feel-
some guidance from the board.
I feel better about that because it says pool borders exist in property lines now. And it said, will be needed to transfer, okay, square footage will be needed to be transferred between lot 16 and 21. Where is lot 16 and where is 21?
I think it had them marked on here.
Let's look at this
Yeah.
part of it and see.
16 is,
Right.
16's one with the pool, right?
Is it 60, yeah, 16 and 21, right there,
15 and 16 the house is sitting on.
Okay,
right, so they're on this.
Right.
let me see if I can get.
And then this is 21 down here, which they want to
Yeah.
reconfigure. And here's a little triangle.
Right.
There.
See, that's gonna cause you to have a smaller lot than what's required.
Well, Attorney Schuler said,
I think you need.
Steve, I'd recommend, I'm sorry, I know Steve is the zoning administrator. Commissioner, what it sounds like to me, I'm with Attorney Schuler, recommend a table, have Justin, Attorney Schuler, and Steve sit down and work it out.
I think
And
so, too.
The applicant might need to come and make a presentation to this board.
Yeah.
If,
Well, and I'm this, we got that 1 acre lot. The
so,
1 acre lot.
and
rule,
explain,
that needs to
kind
apply.
of answer your questions, you
Yeah.
know.
So I make a motion that we table this and have Attorney Schuler look into it and get all the particulars and come back with a recommendation. Cause I'm very concerned about it cutting into another lot, making that lot a non-buildable lot, not having the square footage.
And may I
Especially
work
if they're
with
selling them
the
all.
current planner on that
Yeah,
as well.
you can work with anybody you need to get it done.
Thank you.
That's my motion.
All right, so we have a motion to table
Second.
by Commissioner Sanders. We have a second by Commissioner Ward. Any discussion?
William Brown, is that the applicant? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Commissioner, I apologize, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
His hand is
Okay.
raised. Do
That's
you
fine.
Want me to unmute so he
That's
can
fine.
address the
Yep.
board? I apologize, Mr. Brown, I should have been paying closer attention. I'm going to allow you to talk and you can address the board. If you would unmute on your end, sir, you can address the Board of County Commissioners.
Yes, our intent mainly is to get 2 lots to where we could put 1 house on them. We're not planning on selling them right away. Lot 23 has already been shortened. It doesn't show it on y'all's plat. It belongs to the brick house, the pizza top house, whatever you want to call it. And Mark is the one that suggested doing the pie-shaped cut on 16 to give us enough room to put 1 house on 2 lots.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brown.
Yes.
So I still think we need to proceed as,
Yeah,
have
that's
Mr.
fine.
Brown join the meeting and, see if we can get this figured
Yeah.
out and bring it back to the.
That's fine. All right, any other discussion before we vote? We do have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Let's check it out, make sure it's
Unanimous.
right.
Yes,
Not a
ma'am.
problem. Thank you, Mr. Brown. All right. Sir, what about Ms. Griffith? Is she attended by Zoom?
Yep, let
Okay.
me unmute Ms. Griffin. Where is she? Oh, she's unmuted.
Okay. Good morning, Aaron.
Hey there, Commissioners. How you doing?
Doing well. How you doing?
Good.
Go ahead.
Okay. The first action item is the Restore SGI Stormwater Notice of Award. The county has finally received the notice of award for the $4,144,465.13 in federal construction funding for the Restore SGI Stormwater Project. During the design phase, the extensive permitting process was slowed by the ownership transfer request for the retention ponds at the center of the island, which took coordination from FDOT and the development of a joint use pond agreement, whereas the county and FDOT are both allowed to utilize the existing ponds for drainage. The design and permitting was finalized in August of last year, and since then, the construction funding application has moved slowly through an extensive federal review process. The stormwater project will install approximately 1,489 linear feet of 18-inch piping and 3,186 linear feet of 24-inch piping. Also includes 3,270 square yards of asphalt patching and resurfacing, sod improvements, and other required piping and restoration activities to complete the overall objectives of improving the stormwater drainage for the commercial district of St. George Island, which encompasses 3rd Street East to 3rd Street West. Exhibits are pasted below with the piping plan for the east and west areas. Action item A, board action to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the notice of award from the U.S. Treasury for the Restore SGI Stormwater Project. And action item B, as the construction funds are now available, board action to advertise first for the CEI, which is Construction, Engineering, and Inspection, followed by the construction bids for the Restore SGI Stormwater Project.
Okay, Ms. Attorney Schuler, do we need to do these in two separate motions?
No, they're all the same subject matter.
Okay.
You can do them both one motion.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve with comment.
All right, so a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Sanders. Commissioner Ward, please go ahead.
So, Mr. Chairman, this has been a project near and dear to your heart. How long have you been working on with Aaron?
This started 5.5 years ago.
5.5 years ago.
Yep.
And now it's finally come to fruition.
Yep.
And this is definitely needed, so. It's
Been
needed in the whole
needed for
county, but
decades.
especially on the island, so I'm happy to see this moving forward, and thank you, Chairman, for working on this project with Aaron and county staff to try to get it going.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Go ahead, Ms. Aaron.
Hey, Commissioners, next item, action item number 2, engineers have submitted the attached no-cost time extension for the CR 67 Phase 2 project, which paves approximately 2 miles of CR 67 from the Crooked Creek Bridge to SFR 166. The time extension will grant an additional 30 days for construction and will include project closeout for contractor Robertson Roberts. Board action to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the attached change order number 2 for CR 67 Phase 2.
Motion to approve with a question.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Sanders,
Second.
second by Commissioner Ward. Go ahead, Commissioner Sanders.
Are they gonna need the 30 days now since they went in there and striped it they paved it and striped it over the weekend?
They will still need the 30 days just for being able to process the closeout.
Okay, can you check and see if they're gonna, sod the shoulders of the road, because it's pretty deep down there. It's about a 4-inch drop. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also, Commissioner, I did reach out to Caleb, and the Phase 4 is still held up in the permitting office.
Okay.
All right, any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 4-0.
Okay, Commissioners, next item is item number 3. At the last meeting, the board approved up to $25,000 for the direct purchase of fencing materials once 3 written quotes were received for the emergency repair of the jail security fence. However, the Sheriff's Department, as they will utilize inmate labor to construct the fence, is unable to get quotes from other fencing contractors for the direct purchase of chain link and post materials. So the Sheriff's Department is requesting board action to approve the attached $19,579.78 estimate from Signet Fencing as a sole source supplier for the Sheriff's Department, as they will use in-house labor for the security fencing installation.
Pleasure of the board.
So move.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion?
I only have one thing,
Yes.
and I know they're not here to answer this, but it's involved the labor. We're using
That's what I was thinking.
the inmate labor. I mean, y'all know what I'm thinking. Using the inmate labor to put up the fence to contain the inmates. So that was
Yeah.
my only issue that I had.
Exactly what you said.
There are different classifications of inmates. So there's the inmates that are allowed to actually be out with the work squad. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I think that's where that's coming in, but I get what you're saying.
I think Commissioner Crooms was alluding to the fact it sounds like the fox in the hen house.
But that was it.
It is kind of cute.
I'm gonna make a fence week right here.
Right.
Any additional discussion before we vote? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous, 4-0. Go ahead, Ms. Aaron.
Okay, Commissioners, next item is item number 4. At the budget workshop, it was noted that the property appraiser's office was going to request funding from their budgeted line item in the capital outlay fund for computer upgrades and new workstations. The estimate for the computer upgrades totals $8,681.40 from vendor Newegg, and the estimate for the 3 workstations total $14,929 based upon state contract pricing from Executive Office Furniture. Board action to approve the attached quotes for the property appraiser's office to be paid by the property appraiser's funds in the capital outlay budget.
Pleasure of the board.
So move with question.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure that this was included in our budget that we already discussed when they came and asked for this stuff during our budget session.
It was.
Okay. Just want to make sure for the public to be aware, we're not increasing where they already asked for this with our current budget.
I second it.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any additional discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's 4-0.
Okay, Commissioners, next item number 5. As the county is working towards trying to attract sports tournaments in next fiscal year as part of a concerted effort to encourage sports tourism through the provision of sporting events for families, it is time to begin working on the bid packages and cost estimates for the Phase 1 improvements at the 2 county sports arenas, D.W. Wilson Park in Apalachicola and Kendrick Park in Carabel. Some of the proposed enhancements include, at D.W. Wilson Park, a new batting cage, fencing upgrade and replacement, windscreens for the fencing, bleacher improvements, pickleball courts, handicap parking and entrance improvement, and an information and sponsorship panel. And at Kendrick Park, also a new batting cage, a football field press box, restroom improvements, bleacher improvements, pickleball courts, basketball court upgrades, windscreens for fencing, and also an information and sponsorship panel. Board action to move forward with enhancements noted above, which would include requesting construction bid task order from the county engineers for the pickleball courts, gathering estimates for repairs and replacements, and advertisement for bids for improvements estimated to exceed $25,000, which would include the fencing and the batting cages.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
Aaron, I think this is great, and I just want to make a note. We did a lot of upgrades with Vrooman. The reason why we can't do Vrooman and maybe some other parks in the county is because they're not big enough. These are the only parks within the county that are big enough to facilitate these things. And I'm all for it. I think we as a county, we're moving forward with all this. I do have a question. I know Commissioner Amos, I don't know if he's on the line or not, but I know he was getting jealous of the Musco lighting that Commissioner Sanders and I have at our parks. Is lighting going to be included on this? And if it's not, I mean, is that something that was included or discussed? And
Actually, D.W. Wilson Park is so large, and with the increased construction costs, to actually do the energy efficient lighting, it would be about $750,000 for that park. So we do have that in the plan, but it will not be part of the phase 1 improvements.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure we knew that would not be coming. I wanted to, I'm not speaking on behalf of him, but I know he was talked about it before, so I think this is great. So I'll go ahead and motion to approve.
Yeah,
Move
second
forward.
with question.
All right, so we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner Croom. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Commissioner Sanders. It
Yes,
says
sir.
the football field press box, where's that gonna be at?
That's
You know?
right there at the football field
They wanna
down
go
there.
to that football field.
It goes down there, and what it was like, year before last year during football season,
Mhm.
they had to climb a ladder to get to the top of the press box, and it didn't have nothing around it.
Wow.
And it was blowing north wind out of the north, and I mean, it was blowing hard, and you couldn't hear nothing over, they didn't have no intercom or nothing, but anyway, it needed the press.
So that field is a part of the park?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes,
And there's more land, Mr. Chairman, isn't there more
there's a lot
land?
there's
more
about
land.
45 acres.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot more land over
Yeah.
there.
Gotcha.
It was a 90-acre parcel that we got from St. Joe Company
Yep.
for $57,000 for that grant. So, yeah, it was 90 acres for $57,000. That's pretty good. And it's all, the reason, and so we'll know, the reason why I chose that site, it was a 29 foot above sea level area. And so we were able to bring it down to 19 feet, and it's nothing but pure sand. And what it does is it percolates. So when we have a bad rainstorm in the summer and they're out there playing ball, give it 30 minutes, it's ready to play ball again. You know, that's the reason why. It was a lot of thought process into that, and it was a dream of mine, and it came true, and it was a vision of mine, and I wanted to play because we didn't have any place. But when I came on board, you got $2,500 for parks and recs per commissioner back then. Per commissioner. And all the commissioners, between me and Mr. Bevan Putnam, we were sharing, you know, because we didn't have nothing. And now to see it like it is,
Yeah.
it's good. It's good. But we got 45 more acres. The question I want to ask Aaron, the other day when we were out there at the park, Aaron, and we were looking around, did we take into effect that, did we need any more lighting to the west over there to put those ozone fields in or whatever? Did we need any more lighting?
We will probably need to look at that. Yeah.
Okay, we'll just have to play that by ear and just see what happens then. That's good.
Any more discussion before we vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Go ahead, Ms. Aaron.
Hey, Commissioners, next item number 5. In May, Florida Commerce Secretary Alex Kelly and his leadership team visited the Apalachicola Franklin County Regional Airport as part of a tour hosted by Florida's Great Northwest. At that meeting, concepts for improvement and development were discussed, and one of which was the possibility of an 1,100-foot runway extension, which could allow for commercial regional commuter flights and/or allow for the airport to serve as the base of operations for an aircraft recycling operation. The Department of Commerce team discussed a funding opportunity for a community planning and technical assistance grant, which was quickly coming to close the very next day. To meet the deadline, Franklin County submitted the attached letter requesting $75,000 in funding assistance to develop a comprehensive planning report, which would identify the wetlands area and potential impacts to wildlife, estimate the cost for land acquisition and construction, and provide a preliminary extension design concept. On August 16th, Franklin County received the attached funding notification from the Florida Department of Commerce. Once a grant award agreement is fully executed, the county can move forward with the planning project.
That's fantastic.
Yep, that is good.
Well, I have to say, if y'all remember, that's one of the things I brought up when I first got on board with the recycling, aircraft recycling project. I saw that as a very big project to benefit the county in more than just one way. and that is, can do a class with the Franklin School over here, how you go in there and recycle the aircraft part. So I'm glad to see it coming to fruition, as they say.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good thing. So we desperately need to diversify our economy, and I think this is gonna actually help us realize that. If we can, get the grant funds to actually do the project, but you definitely can't do it without the planning process. It was really big because, like Ms. Erin read in her narrative, we were talking with them one day and submitting the grant the next day. So it was a pretty quick turnaround. And Ms. Erin, you and everybody else involved, from the airport to John Collins or whoever else was involved, thank y'all for everything you've done, because that was a 24-hour deadline. Like, hey guys, we're here and we're glad to meet you, but the deadline's tomorrow. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that was one way to definitely amp up the stress level.
Yes. Yes. All right, go ahead, Ms. Erin.
Okay, next item is number 6. Construction will begin at the Old Ferry Dock boat ramp on September 9th, and the ramp will be closed starting that day through an estimated completion date in January. A notice has been posted on the county's website, has also been shared with Oyster Radio to make the public aware of the upcoming closure.
All right.
And next item, which was actually a late addition for board information, so we don't actually need any public comment. But just want to make you all aware, the tax collector budget amendment for the current first fiscal year, effective July 1st, the legislature approved a salary increase for both the tax collector and the sheriff. Salary increases usually take effect on October 1st for elected officials. However, the legislature did make the increase for those two offices effective July 1st. As the tax collector's office does not currently have the funds included in their current budget, nor the ability to pull from other line items to be able to fund the $11,104 total cost of the increase for the quarter, the board will have to follow the formal procedure outlined in statute to increase the budget of a constitutional office mid-year, which includes advertising a public hearing, and likely we will add this public hearing after the final budget public hearing for the amendment. The date, time, and advertisement will be finalized at the next meeting. The tax collector does have interest earnings available to cover the cost of the additional expense. So that's just an informational item for you all to know that something is coming up on that.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Erin?
That's it.
So I have a question for you. I know, didn't we already give a notice to proceed at Hickory Dip for the repavement, Hickory Dip Road in East Point?
Hickory Dip, Hickory Dip, we just received actually an approval from FDOT for issuing the notice of award to Pykett. So we have sent their contract documents to them, and we have not issued a notice to proceed yet.
All right. And what about the project we talked about on St. George Island with redoing the basketball court and adding a pickleball court there at the park?
From what I understand, Dewberry is almost finished with the construction bid specifications on that.
Okay. All right.
And actually, I was supposed to have met with the concrete contractor this morning for doing the concrete at the picnic pavilion, but that did not happen today. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we will be getting the concrete surfacing under that pavilion as well at the playground.
Okay. So that's why we still have that orange netting there around the pavilion? Or it was there the other day anyway. Do you know? I think she froze. I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
We're having some broadband issues over there.
Okay.
So.
All right, so we'll go to Michael Schuler, County Attorney.
Only one action item, Commissioners, and that is Ms. Angela Lawley has asked me to request authorization to conduct a public hearing so that you can consider the amendments to the Franklin County Flood Control Ordinance that she's been working on with the consultant whose name is Rebecca Quinn and possibly others. So just board authorization to schedule a public hearing, which I would intend to schedule at the second meeting in September.
Okay.
So move.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Ward.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sanders and Commissioner Croom. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous, 4-0.
Commissioners, unless you have any questions for me for my informational items, that would conclude my report.
I do have a couple of questions,
Yes,
Attorney
sir.
Schuler. So on item number 3, so it seems like Barnacle is actually trying to work with us to come up with a contract that will work.
I think so, yes, sir.
Okay, that would be good. And just to round out our discussion we had earlier about Weems, are you of the same mind that Mr. Roan was expressing earlier, that with Baker Tilly, we're close to having a contract as well, so we can move forward and they can start
We are.
consulting?
There were some issues that are always my red lines in these contracts that you're familiar with. You know, attorney's fees, I do my very best to make sure that every party has to pay their own attorney's fees in the event of litigation. They've agreed to that. They wanted a 5% flat administrative fee, which would have been based 5% of whatever their total cost was. Frankly, just as a policy matter, administrative fees that are flat are disfavored, but they've agreed to, like King Solomon, will propose a 2.5% administrative fee. They had basically an unlimited, and I don't think they necessarily meant it in a negative way, but like travel and expenses and meals and things of that nature, there was no stated cap or process or procedure. They've agreed to a $4,000 cap and to follow the county's travel policy. So I think we're making progress on those issues. The biggest one that gave me the most heartburn was this unlimited indemnification in the event there was a regulatory process that they got pulled into, and the regulatory agency was wanting information or witness testimony from them, or if they got involved in a court proceeding that they were not a party to. They wanted the county to pay all their fees, bearing in mind that some of their hourly rates are $450 an hour. That gave me quite a bit of heartburn. So they have agreed to a maximum cap of $35,000. And then if for some reason we reach that cap, in the unlikely event that there is some regulatory process or court process they're pulled into, then we'll come back and negotiate in good faith. So yeah, we're making progress. I try to limit the board and the public's risk on those issues as much as possible. And I feel like they're working with us in good faith.
Sounds good, but we still, if we can work it out, we're willing to be able to do something more about parking than what we've been doing, so.
Yes,
Or
sir.
illegal parking, I should say.
Yes, we expect to have both of those contracts back to the board on September 3rd meeting.
Okay. Anyone else have anything for Attorney Schuler?
I do.
All right.
I know you sent out I think you sent out I don't know for sure because I don't have internet at my house, but I think you informed the commissioners that we had the problem of the Lanark Village Fire Department chief rectified.
I believe that it is, however, one of the two principals is, my understanding, out of state and will not be back until August the 25th. So I intend on following up with them and just making sure, belts and suspenders, and then we'll report back formally to the board at the September 3rd meeting. But I don't have any reason to believe that it hasn't been resolved, and they now have one chief instead of two.
Yeah, I think that'll make the people feel better. And also, the volunteer fire department's contracts, I know I talked about Lanark, but in the future, I would like for the board to consider looking at a contract for all the districts they may have, the fire districts they may have in their district. Because I know I've got Lanark, Alligator Point, and Dog Island. So I would like to do that, and I would like to do it in a fashion to where maybe start the contract on October 1, and then maybe something like that, but you're not gonna be able to do it this year like that. We're gonna have to do something else. But, and then that way, we'll know what their obligations is and what the county's obligations are.
Yes.
Yes, the draft of the contract with Lanark is such that I can amend it to fit the particular circumstance of any of the other 6 fire districts.
Sounds good. Anyone else? All right, Commissioner comments?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank county staff, Mr. Morone. I think Attorney Schuler was there at the beginning, Aaron, Building and Zoning, Tammy, Courtney, Erica, and Tina. I spent about 5 hours at the county annex last week in East Point, just going over things with them and trying to get their opinion on like the RV ordinance and things that I would like potentially see in the next 4 years, a little over 4 years, I'm gonna be on this board to try to move the county forward. So I wanna take time, I wanna thank them for their time, because I know they had a lot of other stuff to do. And I think, did I mention Aaron? Aaron was also there. I just wanna make sure I'm including everybody. I just wanna thank them for their time that they gave me, for their input and questions that I had and all that kind of good stuff, so.
It takes those kind of discussions, Commissioner.
It does.
It just does.
It really does.
It's part of it.
Yep.
All right, any other commissioner comments? Meeting adjourned?